So we're going to you for a definition first, okay? You got
Okay,
one in mind?
not exactly.
So what is a recovery coach? A lot of people are trying to define them, will tell you what they're not, but I'd like us to dive in directly and talk about what a recovery coach is.
Yeah, yeah. And, I like to think of it as an approach, a way of being that really invites change. And one of the things that I find that is paramount with a coach approach is that foundational relationship has to be established. So important to have relationship where there is trust, where there is just a sense of non-judgment, a sense of deep care and respect for the individual. And when that is present, then people are more likely to be able to lean in and explore those deeper places in their minds with you, and to really bring it out into the light.
Yeah.
So that coach approach is a place where it's collaborative. You invite um, a deeper thinking about where
Yeah.
someone is at, and where do they want to go. This isn't a static relationship. This is, hey, so how are things right now? What's been going on? Like,
Yeah.
what's on your mind? And then from there, being able to go, okay, so I hear this is where you're at in your, if everything went exactly as you wanted it to, where would you land 6 months from now or a year from now? What would that look like? And from there, really reverse engineer
Yeah.
to, okay, so if we started small with the smallest little thing, what could that look like, right? So it's a collaborative approach, and it's really foundational upon the relationship, the non-judgment, the the respect, the collaboration.
Yeah.
Really loving someone exactly as they are, and truly in an unconditional way.
Yeah, and I love
Yeah.
the way you frame that. Like you talk about how you often say in our mentorship and things that recovery coaching is all about relationship.
Hmm.
And it like really just begins there. Without that bedrock of solid relationship, arriving with somebody exactly where they are,
Hmm.
and meeting them without judgment is just absolutely the pristine start of all of this.
Hmm.
And like you say, allowing them to have their own journey, right?
Yeah. 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 Without me trying to stick handle them or have an agenda, or think I know where they need to go or what they need to do next, or have my little advice giver that's, here going, I know, I know, I know.
Yeah.
I have to really quiet that. As a coach, that is not a coach approach.
Yeah.
I need to quiet that and manage my own stuff and go, okay, well, tell me what does it look like for you, right? And
Hmm.
really, it's about coming alongside beside them, shoulder to shoulder, seeing things as they see it, not
Yeah.
as I see it, but how do you see it? Show me, tell me. I really want to
It's a
know.
hard one to let go of. That
Oh,
sort
for
of,
sure.
because
Yeah.
a lot of times the coach will come in thinking that they have their own idea of the way things are, whether that's complete abstinence or whatever, and to absolutely let go of all of that and allow the recovery to have their own journey
Yeah.
is
Yeah.
is really the heartbeat of
Yeah. The
this
coach
approach.
approach.
Yeah.
Yeah. And it's something else that I find is just crucial in coaching, is the idea of having somebody have agency,
Uh,
having autonomy in their own life. Like, I mean, for someone that is been struggling in their substance use for a while,
mm,
they've been told what to do. They've been told off by their boss, their spouse, their kids, everyone in their life is telling them what they think they should do. And that person is, shrunk into a corner, and really, all they want to do is fight back. There's this defiance, there's this anger, there's this sense of helplessness and being controlled. And I want to come along and say, hey, it's okay. And maybe there's a time of really fostering that relationship and that trust for a time, and really finding out, all about them, and they may not even know themselves.
yeah.
That's the powerful thing,
And I
right?
love that. Like, with people who've been suffering from addiction, like constantly being told what to do. You should do this, you shouldn't do that. And to have somebody land right beside them, like a recovery coach, and just
Hmm.
sit alongside them and just say, okay, what does recovery look like for you, and how can I help? Like, and whatever that looks like for you, let's do it. I mean, if it's moving you forward,
Yeah.
let's go.
Yeah. Well, and we look at what is recovery, even is one of the questions that we explore in our course.
Yeah,
But, recovery for us is any small change
yeah,
that is made in your relationship to a substance or behavior. So, this could be even just the smallest thing. Maybe instead of getting in your car, after a night of drinking, maybe you call a cab. Maybe that's that small change,
maybe
right?
it's not drinking around with kids. Maybe it's,
Yeah. Yeah.
altering behaviors in a positive way,
Yeah.
inch by inch. It can be sometimes it can be just absolutely painfully slow, but
Yeah.
that forward movement often results in this wonderful internal feeling of agency, as
Hmm.
you say, and there's nothing like that. And the fact that it's their plan.
Yeah. Yeah, it's their plan and it's their timeline
Yeah,
too, right? Like I'm not going to put a time limit on their wellness, right? That they can actually decide, how long, when they're going to get there, the quantities, the amounts, and you're really good at it, like really setting in a written plan
hmm,
of, okay, so what would that look like, and when would you do that, and what days would you want to do that, and for how long, and so on, right?
yeah,
Like that can be a really powerful process
yeah,
to go through with someone, to help them feel like they have some power back, and to have a
yeah,
sense of empowerment
hmm,
within themselves, that I can make even a small decision, right, for myself, and
yeah,
then that grows over time in greater confidence and um, uh, greater change, greater decision. That container that people um, are held within in that coach relationship, is what, the soil that
hmm.
of non-judgment, of love, of care, of respect and compassion for where they're at.
Language they've never heard
If
before.
never, no,
Yeah,
no, it's all the finger wagging, right?
yeah,
Which is and I have to say, for the family members that are out there that maybe that's been the approach, I've
yeah,
done it myself.
hmm,
I can say for sure I've done that myself, and it's has never bore fruit. Okay, finger wagging and telling people what to do has never.
defiance.
Oh, defiance,
Yeah,
right? So,
yeah,
but I get it. I understand that it does come from a place of love and care,
hmm,
and wanting to help and wanting them to have a good
yeah,
life and a better life. But this coach approach just helps people to really want to initiate that change and also sustain that change over the long term, right?
hmm,
That's the difference.
yeah.
Yeah.
Now, I see a recovery coach as a connector. Like in a disease of isolation, a recovery coach comes in as a connector, connecting people to their own internal resources and external resources that builds up this beautiful recovery capital that gets them into recovery sooner and has them stay longer because it's their plan.
Yeah.
And the engagement level I experience when I'm coaching, and I've been
Mhm.
working with recovery people in recovery for decades now. The engagement level I have as a recovery coach,
Mhm.
there's nothing like it.
Yeah.
There's nothing like it. Like the connection you build with
Mhm.
a person who's entering recovery is I've never seen anything like it.
Yeah. Yeah. So true. There's one of the joys of being a recovery coach is seeing, asking a question, and all of a sudden you have this, you can see this look on their face where they're really accessing like the deep recesses of
Yeah.
their brain for
Oh,
their answer,
yeah.
for their own answer, and they're just thinking about it and thinking about it, and you can just see, and then all of a sudden they have this aha moment,
Yeah.
and you can see that, oh my gosh, they'll say, like, I have never thought of that before, or I have never been asked that before.
Yeah.
And it makes them think, right? It
Yeah.
makes them really, really think.
My
And
favorite moments
yeah,
are when somebody says, I can't answer that. I have no
yeah.
idea. Like, but it leaves them in a state of wonder for like long periods, kind of going, huh, well, like, what is the potential here? Like, when I do say yes to alcohol or drugs, what am I saying no to? Like,
Yeah.
God, like the question reaches into the far limits of their imagination. And I always find that the fast answer puts to death the question. And I love a question that is a heartbeat and lives on for the longest time
Yeah.
and just sparks wonder in the people who are asking themselves.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. No, that's beautiful. That's a beautiful way to put it. And it's, it is one of those deeper movement. Like, I think as a recovery coach, another thing that we are trying to create is that intrinsic motivation.
Yeah.
I like to describe it as that soft underbelly of a porcupine. When you meet someone that's in early, maybe you're still trying to establish that trust and relationship, and they're a little prickly. They don't know you, and it can be difficult. It's a little bit
Mm-hmm.
of hard ground initially. So, I want to find out, like, everybody has that soft belly, that soft underbelly of what they care about. Like, what do they actually care about? What's going to motivate this person to want to change,
Yeah.
And some of that is just unpacking a conversation
Yeah.
about, who do they have in their life? What makes them cry? What do they care about? And sort of going back and forth between that, right? And finding that intrinsic motivation. Some people can be motivated by external forces or extrinsic motivation, whether they're going to lose their job, or maybe
Yeah.
their wife is threatening to leave them, or those kinds of things.
And those work initially. Like those are
Yeah.
great ways to spark uh,
Hmm.
a need for change. But it's those intrinsic motivators
Yeah.
that are the longest lasting. It's like, I want to be able to walk my daughter down the aisle.
Hmm. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, sort of those deeper motivations that they really care deeply about, and really just following that golden thread through the conversation of what is it that they really really care about. So, and some of that as a coach is accessing our own intuition,
Yeah.
and really paying attention to the languaging that somebody
And
might
being
use.
patient.
Yeah, yeah, big part of it.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, we're not gonna solve somebody's problem in a 30-minute session,
No.
right? Like, it's gonna take some time. It's gonna really take some time, but be so worthwhile,
Yeah.
over the long term.
Yeah.
Yeah, yeah. If we don't get in a hurry and, try and stick handle them into doing what we think they should do, and it just always leaving it in their capable hands, right? So, yeah, it's a beautiful approach, a beautiful way of being. We're so
Nothing like
fortunate
it.
to
Nothing
be
like it.
in this field and doing this work.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So we've talked to you a little bit about what a recovery coach is. Now let's take a look a little bit about what it's not. And we'd like to talk about recovery coach versus a therapist.
Mhm.
Should you have one? Should you have a recovery coach, or should you have a therapist? Do you need both? Is it either or?
Mm.
We want to take a look at that.
Yeah. And maybe it's both and.